Um, are there any clubs outside of Jamaica who are into clubbing with us today? Anyone from clubs outside of Jamaica? Right. Any clubs from Division 25? Feel free to unmute and say a short welcome or place it in the chat. That's fine. All right. Anybody from
This is past Director Crystal
Past
Heaven
Director
from the
Crystal?
Kiwanis
Welcome.
Club of Montego Bay. We
Mhm.
are in two numbers, myself and Kiwani and Tamika. We're looking forward to a great meeting. Thank you for the invite.
Okay, welcome and thank you for joining us. Always nice to see you, Past Director Crystal. Anybody from Division 24?
Hi, this is Kiwani and Keisha from Kiwani's Club of Discovery Bay. Happy to be here and thank you for the invite.
Okay. Welcome, Kiwani and Keisha. Are you said you're the only one from your club?
Yes, I'm the only one right now, but hopefully more will join on later.
Excellent. All right, thank you for being here. Anybody else from Division 24? Yeah. Apologies for the in and out. I'm still at work and ward situations call occasionally. Anybody else from Division 24?
No.
Anybody from Division 23 East?
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for having us. My name is Samoy Cole. I'm the chairman for the PR committee from the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. With me, I have several members on. Let me tell you the total. That's 6 persons. Tony and Marie, Marlene Bennett, Herman McCaff, Diane Harris, Camille Wellesley, and Bridget Hosang. And others should be joining as well.
Okay, welcome, Samoy. Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself and your delegation. Is that PDT Ralston?
No, I was asking person.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Anyone else from 23 East? '23 West.
Michelle Golden Ilton, Vice President of West St. Andrew, and on the line with us is 5 other members.
Okay, welcome. Welcome, VP Michelle. Thank you for joining our meeting.
Actually, Michelle, you kind of missed it. President Maurice here, Andrew.
Okay.
That I was here. Okay. So
All
yeah.
right.
My apologies.
Yes. No problem. West
This
St.
is
Andrew
also
here.
Western St. Andrew? Yes.
West St. Andrew still here.
Okay. All right.
Represented by 5 or 6 people. We expect a couple more to join.
Okay.
Looking forward to another exhilarating meeting.
All right. Thank you. I'm glad to have you joining us. Is that rounds up 23 West? All right, bringing it closer to home. Any of our sibling clubs from Division 23 Central here on the meeting?
Hi, good night, VP Burton. This is President Delma from KC Fab. Thank you for the invitation. There are 4 members online, and we're expecting more to join. Thank you for this. Looking forward to an informative meeting.
Hi, Prez. Welcome. Great to have you here this evening. Anyone else? That was KC Fab. Anyone else from any other clubs from Division 23 Central?
Good evening, VP Andrew. This is President-elect Anthea from the Kiwanis Club of Constant Spring. Currently, we have 7 members in attendance, including our president, President DeMar. Looking forward to an informative meeting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much and welcome. I think that was I heard on a male voice. Was that President Damar who was speaking?
Good, yes, VP, but PE Anthea went ahead, so it's
Covered
all
it.
good. Yeah,
All
man.
right. Excellent. Welcome, welcome, Club of Constant Spring. All right. Any other clubs from 23 Central?
Hello, good night. Good night, all.
Hi,
This is
praise
President
Lashawn.
Lectron from Kiwanis Club 23 Central, sorry, online.
Mhm.
So far, we have 4 members who are online, including dual member DLG Desmond. Thank you so very much for the invite. Do have a wonderful meeting.
Thank you so much. And welcome, President. Thank you for joining us. Any other clubs from 23 Central? I see 23 Central, sorry, online also here, correct?
They just presented.
Okay. Okay, I think that's everyone. Do we have any SLPs on the call? Oh,
Good evening, VP. Sorry, this is Katisha from Coastal Trelawney, and we have 3 members online at the moment. Thanks for having us.
thank you. Welcome, Katisha. Welcome to our meeting, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Any of our SLPs, any of our service leadership program students, members with us on this call? Scrolling through, I don't see any either. Any guests of Kiwanians that are signed in this evening for the meeting? Can identify yourself either by unmuting and just introducing yourself or by putting it in the chat. No. All right. Welcome again, and to my brothers from the Kiwanis Club of Kingston. Welcome. This is our whole meeting, and it's good to have you join us. I now hand the mic back to President Zuri. Continue the proceedings.
Thank you, VP Andrew. And let me just say welcome to all of you. We are grateful that you have joined us for this evening's meeting. We're going to move to apologies for absence. I have one from Director Dr. Andy Jean-Baptiste. He is on duty, and so he's unable to join us this evening. That's the only one that I have. DLG Willie, did you receive any apologies for absence?
No, unfortunately, I did not, President.
Very well. Is there any other member on who you have an apology?
Maybe DP Newton would have because this is his third Tuesday. Usually has a clash. I don't know if he sent it in, but he's normally absent on a third Tuesday.
He did make mention of that. He did. He did, in fact, he did say that. Thank you.
Right.
If there are no other apologies, we will move to recognition of birthdays and anniversaries, and that will be done this evening by President-elect Arsenio.
Good evening again, everyone. So we do have some special persons who'll be celebrating birthdays this week. So we just like to take a moment to acknowledge them. We have Jacqueline, who is the wife of past President Victor McFarlane, and she actually celebrates her birthday this evening or today. So if either Jackie or past President VP are on, happy birthday. We also have VP Leo Chung, who celebrates his birthday on the 22nd, as well as Kiwanian George Beckford, who celebrates on the 22nd. So if there is anyone else who'll be celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or special day this week, feel free to open your mics and share with us. Anyone with a birthday or special day this week? Okay, if there's no one, I'll hand over to you, President Suri.
Thank you, PER Senior. Well, every day is a special day and we celebrate every day. So we celebrate with you all this evening. And we now move to Kiwanis education, which will be done by PDT Ralston. PDT?
Yeah, Prez, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm sure
I can hear now. Thank you.
Fellow Kiwanians and guests. Kiwanis education is centered around making persons aware of what we do and when we do. So service clubs and other nonprofit organizations relieve government by addressing societal needs that the state is either unable or unwilling to fulfill. They act as critical part of civil society, complementing public services rather than replacing them. Kiwanis has been active in Jamaica since 1964 with the Kiwanis Club of Kingston and has contributed significantly to community development, particularly focusing on the welfare of children. Through numerous service projects and partnerships with government and corporate entities, by relieving pressure on public services, by addressing gaps in healthcare, education, and social support. Kiwanis is a major contributor to the educational sector, especially at the early childhood level. Clubs have built or renovated numerous basic schools across the island, providing safe and suitable learning environment. The Kiwanis movement launched the PACE, P-A-C-E program to foster positive attitudes, courtesies, and ethics among children and students in early childhood and primary schools. Under healthcare, Kiwanis projects support medical services and facilities. For example, blood collection. The Kiwanis Club of Kingston established a blood collection center to support the National Chest Hospital. The Kiwanis Club of Kingston built a maternity clinic in Western Kingston in 1969. That clinic later became the Chinloy Health Center. And after offering reduced services and eventually closing, the facility was refurbished and reopened in 2013 with support from the Chase Fund. And they expanded their services to include maternal and child health care. So Kiwanis has been very, very instrumental and engaged in Jamaica and the opportunity to make our country prosper in so many ways. And that, my friend, is Kiwanis education for this afternoon.
Thank you, PDT, a reservoir of knowledge. And we are grateful for you sharing that with us. And I'll challenge those of us who are online to try to see if we can learn at least one new fact about Kiwanis and its operations daily. And then I think that will help us to see and to feel the passion that we have and to remind ourselves of why we do what we do. So I'm going to challenge us to try to learn a new fact about Kiwanis at least daily. All right. Thank you again, PDT.
And so, President, also, as we spoke, just to remind you that I'm out of the area and I'm going to ask to be excused for the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Very well, PDT. And we have come to that very important point of this evening's meeting, that part where we will open up to knowledge and we will have our guest speaker share with us. But before she comes, I'm going to invite Kiwanian Clovis Metcalf to come and do an introduction of our guest speaker so that we become a little bit more familiar with the star tonight.
President Zuri, President-elect Arsenio, DLG Willie Reason, members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, and fellow Kiwanians in Jamaica and overseas. Guests all. It is truly my honor and great pleasure to introduce this evening's speaker. I'm especially delighted because I've had the joy of knowing her since the very beginning. Her late mother, Dawn, was my secretary for many years during my time at CIBC Halfway Tree. And I still remember when she proudly welcomed her daughter into the world. Watching her grow into the accomplished, inspiring professional she is today has been a tremendous source of pride for me. She's a dynamic leader with extensive experience in policy development, international trade, and public relations. As a certified service global trainer, she has been a catalyst for entrepreneurship while driving economic growth across the Caribbean region, empowering local businesses to expand their market base and access overseas markets and investment facilitation. In addition to her professional commitments, she actively contributes to the governance landscape of Jamaica, serving on the board of directors of prestigious organizations such as the Spectrum Management Authority of Jamaica, the Jamaica International Finance Service Authority, and the Rural Agriculture Development Agency, RADA, and beyond, contributing to Jamaica's economic and social development. With strong academic grounding in political science and international relationships, she brings both expertise and passion to everything she does. She has a Master of Science in Comparative Politics and Political Theory, and a Bachelor of Science in International Relations with a minor in Political Science from UWI-Mona. Our speaker has been the Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, JSEZA, since November 1st, 2023, guiding the organization growth and impact. Before that, she served as Director of Investor Relations and Communications at JSEZA, and also worked at the Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, where she contributed to a range of special projects, research, business development, capacity building, and investment promotion projects. Her qualifications, expertise, and experience eminently qualifies her to present on the important subject, the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority. Kiwanians, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Kelli-Dawn Hamilton. Please give her a warm Kiwanians welcome.
Thank you very much. It is the first time in my life. Thank you. Thank you. It is the first time that I have appreciated the length of that introduction, because boy, I knew that this club meeting, I knew that this Kiwanis Club of Kingston meeting was going to be good, but I didn't expect that it was going to be so good so quickly. And I hope that the feelings that I had, going through living that introduction, at least half of that, if I'm able to convey what SEZ is to the membership, to the people online, then I will feel happy that my job was done. Thank you very much, President Johnson, Vice President Burton, President-elect Sawyers, all members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As you heard, my name is Kelli-Dawn Hamilton, and I'm here today to share about the Special Economic Zone regime, what it is, how it functions, and how you can play a role in its development. Now, I know that many persons in the room are familiar with SEZ already. Some of the names we would have interacted before. Some of you are even ambassadors for SEZ already. You've gone through the certification program. And so the level of understanding, bear with me, I'm going to presume that we know nothing. And for those who may have learned with us as we grew, you may learn something new that you never knew about. So what is the SEZ? The SEZ really came about, I'm sure many persons, let me step back a little bit. Are persons familiar with free zone? Yes. I see the things coming up. Exactly. We're familiar with free zone. So we know what that history was, where companies would set up predominantly in the garment sector, garment manufacturing sector, and they established for export. 80% of the output had to be exported. Come around 2016, on August 1, the Special Economic Zone Act was implemented, and it repealed the Free Zone Act. The rationale for repealing the act was as a matter of our obligations internationally. So our OECD obligations required us to move from a free regime into one that was regulated. So that was the rationale for the switch. Now, in moving from free zone, completely free, to special economic zones, that came with the establishment of an authority, and we are designated as regulators for the special economic zone space. And as you can imagine, as we're issuing incentives for the government of Jamaica, there has to be regulation around it. So that's what the Special Economic Zone Authority does. So the major difference between us and free zone is the regulation of the space, and of course the export quota requirement. On the SEZ, there's a 0% export quota requirement. However, the SEZ regime is intended to facilitate exports. So if your business is solely export focused, SEZ is certainly a conversation that you should be having. In terms of work from home, we have a ratio of 70-30 now, and that was really born out of COVID and seeing how adaptable the regime needed to be in order to facilitate what was happening at that time. And so we know COVID required a lot of us to work from home. And so we implemented a regime where 70% of workers had to be in office, but SEZ companies could have up to 30% of those workers operating from home. Now, under the SEZ, we have 11 prohibited industries. And we start with the prohibited industries because it's a more confined list. What it means is anything that is not on this list is allowable within the SEZ. So if you have a business idea and you're into the extractive industries, mining, public utilities, anything related to financial services, construction services, and real estate, and please stick a pin in construction and real estate, health services, this excludes research and development, telecommunication, tourism, catering services, retail, and intellectual property, those services are not allowed, or those industries are not allowed under SEZ. Now, the rationale for that is that the bulk of these industries already had incentives covering them at the time that the SEZ was established. Now, for construction and real estate, some of you who have SEZ developer status may be asking, how does that fall in here? But if it is you're a real estate company or a construction company. You can't get into the SEZ. If you're an SEZ development company, then that is a different ball game, and you have different options available to you to operate on the SEZ. Now, intellectual property, just to share that we have had to put this on the list of prohibited industries because of a change to the legislation in 2022. What it requires is for us to build out or create an intellectual property framework, and that is now in the process of being completed. We're working with our different government partners to finalize that, and that should be completed and in place by January of next year. So for members in the intellectual property space, creative industries, SEZ is still a possibility for you. Now, the priority industries, you would have heard about the different areas that we have been focusing on, that the government has been focusing on as a whole. Agro-processing and agro-technology, key areas of focus for us. Of course, logistics and supply chain management. We are seeing a steady increase in the demand for warehousing space. So, you know, we consistently hear that our ports are operating at capacity, which is why they're expanding. We have the Westland projects that is coming up in short order. Pharmaceuticals is another key area for us. Many of us may know, some may not know, that Jamaica has medical grade limestone. And so it means that this opens up a whole realm of opportunities for us in tablet making, toothpaste manufacturing, and we would have participated in that at some point in our history of processing. And so pharmaceuticals is another space for us to look into. Of course, creative industries and new digital media is another space. The global services sector, automotive right now, Jamaica has really increased in terms of the size of the automotive transshipment hub that we have become for the Caribbean and other countries. Electronics is another area, and medical devices. Now, as I raise some of these sectors, some persons may be thinking about the opportunities presented with the tariffs that would have been implemented by the United States, their new trade policies. So keep the thinking caps on, because as we go through, please put the questions in the chat. I may not see it, but I want this to be an interactive session. Now, what does SEZ offer? Before I get into the fiscal incentives, I want to address something that keeps coming up. So you will hear the Special Economic Zone Authority, Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and government talking about Jamaica as a logistics hub and how it is that we intend to capitalize on that. Now, what that is, and the question I usually get after that is, where is the hub? And it is Jamaica as the hub. So if we think about the Kiwanis network across Jamaica, right? I would have heard a number of Kiwanians represented here, Discovery Bay, Montego Bay, you know, the different elements, they all come together to form the Kiwanis umbrella. It's the same way in the creation of a logistics hub. We need things like the appropriate legislation. We need the people to support it, that is your labor force. You need the educational sector. You need the financing sector. How are we going to pay for services? You need the network infrastructure to support your internet, your broadband connectivity. You need we need a whole host of things, right? So when we talk about Jamaica as a logistics hub, we're talking about all the things necessary, the policies that need to be put in place in order to capitalize on our geographic location. Where we're located geographically, perfectly positioned to be a transshipment point. The amount of ships that pass us on a daily, weekly basis, if we can get a percentage of that traffic in, whether it is that we're doing maintenance, ship repair, if it is bringing in goods and sending goods back out in the belly of those ships and the planes that come in, that is what being a logistics hub is. So what this special economic zone regime provides are the incentives to support that entire framework. So it is almost a cherry on top of an entire ecosystem. So the SEZ provides a reduced corporate income tax rate. So companies operating in the SEZ currently face a headline rate of 12.5%. No, if you're operating in the domestic economy, you're paying 25%. Some companies are paying 33 and a third, depending on the sector that you're operating in. If you're operating in, and if you're paying 25%, please know that that can go down to 17.75 with the application of the omnibus suite of fiscal incentives. But under the SEZ, you can pay an effective rate of 7.75%, and that's your corporate income tax rate. The headline rate that you will pay, 12.5. How you move from that 12 to 7? Application of promotional tax credits, employment tax credits. So those will reduce that 12.5%. You have customs duty exemption as a special economic zone company. So SEZ companies don't pay duty on goods imported for use within their zones. And there's relief from income tax. So relief from income tax on rental income. So where you're an SEZ developer, and we'll get into these names shortly. So you have two types of SEZ companies or designations, a developer and an occupant. So the SEZ developer, landlord. So the landlord collects rent. So the SEZ developer gets relief on rental income, but this is not between connected parties. If they're connected parties, then you're going to pay the full rate. So it's 0% on your rental income if you establish as a developer. No transfer tax exemption exists as well, and there is no GCT on goods and services purchased locally for use in the SEZ, and companies get 50% stamp duty relief. Now, who is eligible for SEZ? It has to be a new company, registered in Jamaica, and limited by shares. And the company has to have issued and paid up share capital, and that is dependent on the size and type of the SEZ. So we said there are really two statuses, but you may also hear about the zone user. So the SEZ developer, under the developer category, we have multi-purpose developers, and that is a developer that has different types of companies operating. We have single entity developer, and many of you will see these entities and not realize that they have special economic zone status. So a lot of the business process outsourcing companies, those companies in the global digital sector, they are SEZ companies. So single entity developers, these are companies that they have legal access to the land, whether by lease or they have purchased the land, and they're operating in the space. And then you have specialized developers, and this could be an SEZ that is focusing on energy, for example. We have our occupants, and the occupants are the companies that establish within the SEZ and operate, and they have access to all the benefits as well. Your zone user is a company who may determine by virtue of proximity, being in the zone makes sense for them. So as we know, in building out this ecosystem, we may need a restaurant, right? We may need a bank, but we recognize from the list I did earlier that these industries are on the prohibited list, but they need to be in the zone so they get zone user status and establish in the zone. So for the developer, they must have issued and paid up share capital of 1.5 million US dollars. And of course, they have to be in one of our permitted industries. For the occupant, they must show issued and paid up share capital of 25,000 US, and they must also show proof of a 50,000 investment within the first year of operations, right? So the occupant leases space from an SEZ multi-purpose developer. So for example, Kingston Special Economic Zone, we have Montego Bay SEZ, Barnett Tech Park is one of our zones as well, 58 Halfway Tree is one of our zones as well. So these buildings you may be familiar with, and you may not realize that they're SEZs too. So this is what the buildings generally look like. Our own illustration of SEZ. We have the single entity developer, standalone, operating, and then of course we have a multi-purpose or a specialized developer that has different entities occupying the space. Currently, and this is as at September, we have 104 companies operating in 141 locations across the island. So one company with SEZ designation may have more than one location, right? And you will see the split. We have approximately 53 occupants. So these are 53 companies that are operating in multi-purpose zones across the island. Now, some of the sectors the sectors within which they sit include shipping and logistics. And as I shared, that space is growing. You will see warehouse and distribution as well, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, IT. Now, commercial space, this refers to our developers, right? So 21% of our BPO operators are developers, not BPO, or SEZ operators are developers that have built space, purpose-built space for companies to come in and operate as occupants. So in terms of our investment opportunity, now in terms of how we see the map of Jamaica growing in terms of SEZs, and this is our proposed phasing of our zones. We have a lifestyle belt operating on the northern side of the island. And then coming back to the eastern side of the island, we have our agriculture belt. Our industrial belt goes down to the south of the island and meets with the logistic belt that covers Kingston, St. Ann, up to our lifestyle belt. So they're all interfacing with each other and supporting the SEZ development drive that we are doing across the country. Now, of course, things that we have to contemplate in building this out is where will the people come from who will operate in these spaces? So the opportunity for schools, the opportunity for housing communities, all of that has to tie into what it is that we plan as we seek to build out SEZs in the country. And just to note that currently we do have a request for proposal out for the preparation of an SEZ master plan, right? So this falls into the development of that. And that is something that we're doing systematically across the country, and that will tie into the whole need too for an overarching plan for the country, spatial plan. Now, in terms of Cayman Special Economic Zone, you will recall, some of you may have seen it, some may not have. We also would have heard about this project for some time, Cayman Special Economic Zone, and that is 700 acres of land that sits right on the same side as the Fesco gas station as you're going out on the Mandela Highway, heading to St. Catherine, that heading to in the direction of the Spanish Town bypass, that stretch of land from Fesco that goes right back to about mid where the entrance to Portmore is. All of that area is what will be designated as the Cayman Special Economic Zone. And so there are protected areas within the space as well. And of course, the intention is to advance the sectors that I mentioned earlier, priority sectors, those areas of key opportunity for us: agro-processing, cold chain logistics, business incubation center, software development. So it will be a true economic hub. And in addition to this, there will be housing facilities within the zone as well. So it will be a true ecosystem of development as the special economic zone has been envisioned. And it will also include the ports connectivity to the seaport, which is right across the road. And of course, we know the proximity to our airport. So that is a part of the major projects that we have. Of the 104 companies that we have operating, you would note that there is no SEZ currently that exists of that magnitude. And so this project is indeed a game changer for us, not just the authority, but for Jamaica as well, in terms of what it is intended to accomplish and what it will be when completed. Approximately 400 acres dedicated to the build out of a commercial hub. So, are there any questions?
Yes, I have a quick question. I'm just wondering, since you mentioned the BPO those are organizations, are they? We know that they have some properties, dotted around Kingston. I wanted you to just explain how, in other words, you have a physical location somewhere is it in St. Catherine, where these warehouses are? I'm just kind of trying to fit myself around the physical location versus those that are obviously not in your location. How does that all fit together?
So currently, thank you for that question. Currently, how the special economic zone regime exists in Jamaica, there is no limit to where an SEZ can go, in that once it meets the specifications and the requirements and have the relevant permits, then an SEZ can be established anywhere across the island. So it's private sector led and determined by what the needs of the business are in order to meet its own requirements, and of course the requirements of the SEZ for it to be designated. So I hope that answers the question. So there is no one location that is SEZ. There are some multi-purpose developers. Kingston Special Economic Zone being one of them. We have private sector developers as well. So you will see signs of special economic zones existing across the island.
May I ask a question now?
Sure.
All right. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Hamilton.
You're welcome.
How is SEZ funded?
So it's funded from the government, as well as we earn fees.
My next question is, what is the connection, the relationship with JAMPRO? Is it that, are you competing organizations in some way?
We are different organizations. So JAMPRO is the Trade and Investment Promotion Agency of the country. We are the incentive agency for the country and the regulator. So we regulate the special economic zone space and manage the whole incentive regime operating under SEZ. So it's two different entities. However, we both sit under the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce.
When you mention about the amount of US dollars that you have to inject, $1.5 million, can you repeat that part for me? Because I'm wondering if that's perhaps prohibitive to some extent, that shut out some other organizations that may want to enter.
Right. So what it is the issued and paid up share capital that companies must show 1.5 million US, and that is for the developer. The developer in this case is usually an entity that owns the land, right? That is the model that a lot of companies have used to come into the SEZ. So once they're land holding, they tend to use that. Other companies use assets as well to show the 1.5 in issued and paid up share capital. Now for the occupant, which is a company that is going to operate in the SEZ space, they show issued and paid up share capital of 25,000. Right. Right. So obviously they are not the landholders, but we want to ensure that companies show skin in the game. That is the intention of that, and show ties here. And so that is why it was set up in this way.
And what's the growth like, really, as far as companies, businesses being a part of SEZ?
So in different sectors, companies are growing in different ways. We would be seeing now an increase in demand for example, ship repair services. A company like German Ship Repair that is operating, new company, I think they're about 2 years old. So capitalizing on logistics, we're seeing an increase in demand for warehousing space. So our entities that are in that area are expanding. We're seeing contraction in some areas as well. And a lot of companies have been reporting that it's a function of what's happening with supply chains, the impact of trade policy. But we're also seeing a lot of pivoting happening with our country, with our companies, where they're looking looking for different markets, and we are assisting them with that as well, supporting in that area as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Neil J. A hand is up. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Is it Ahia or Shia?
Asia.
Asia. Okay. Go right ahead, Asia.
It's Hamilton. You said that a CZ could be created in any part of the island as an ecosystem. You the financial services sector, such as the banks, credit unions, whatever, and so forth. Would that include microcredit institutions that are newly regulated?
So anything financial services would not benefit from SEZ. However, they could be located in a zone. So for example, if you see an opportunity where you have a zone with a company with 4,000 workers, it may be a captive audience for that microcredit company. And so you may want to locate within a special economic zone.
But the difference is that you wouldn't get the benefits.
Correct.
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 Right.
Yes,
right.
Correct. Because you would be on that prohibited list.
Right. That's all you wanted to know, Aisha? Okay, let me ask you this. You said that the free zone concept had kind of been superseded to what you have now. But what about Montego Bay? I thought there was a Montego Bay free zone. It doesn't no longer exist. I mean,
no,
could
man. No, you don't want the good people of Montego Bay here, you. It very much exists. Montego Bay Special Economic Zone is still there. They would have transitioned from free zone to SEZ, operating at near maximum capacity. No, and the reason they're also doing some construction works there too, to expand the space because of the demand for space in that area. So they are still operating, and it's operated by the Port Authority.
Okay, but it's now under the authority of the Special Economic Zone.
Correct.
I get you. I see
Questions
another
in the
hand
chat
up.
still. Yeah, I was saying to
Okay,
you,
let me
I
check
was saying
it.
to you, DP Stewart, that there are 2 questions in the chat.
All right, let me just take this one hands up and then I'll read it. There's a president. Oh, Richard, DP Richard, you go ahead.
You can read it. It's in the chat.
Yes. So it's given the recent imposition of high tariffs on countries by the US and prohibitive harbor fees on Chinese flagged vessels, or those vessels part owned by China, what are the SEZ opportunities for Jamaica? Are there plans to revise the Customs Act and companion legislation that supports third-party logistics? So let me answer the last part first. Yes, there are plans to revise the Customs Act and to develop rules around what third-party logistics looks like for SEZ companies. Given the recent imposition of the tariffs and the opportunities, right now it is taking advantage of the fact that Jamaica is taxed at a 10% rate, which is the lowest rate that companies are currently taxed at. So the opportunity is there for many different types of businesses. There are a lot of companies that are looking to come back this side, and Jamaica can be that point into markets such as the US, markets such as South America, for these companies. So, which is why the warehousing space, the logistics services is important, and that is why the whole issue of treatment of third-party logistics and guidelines around that becomes very critical, particularly as we seek to capitalize on this opportunity. What of the logistics hub concept put forward by the Chinese for Goat Island? Can the GOJ still pursue this model, as the plan was a sound one? DR has already seized the opportunity with an Amazon hub. Given our strategic location for maritime trade, would it be prudent for us to reopen these discussions? Are there plans to amend legislation to support fast package channels? We have to pivot quickly. Time is not on our side. And that last statement first, absolutely, we have to pivot quickly. And the truth of the matter is, as we have seen, every given day there was a point where every given day there was something new, and some days are still like that now. In relation to your first question, what of the concept put forward by the Chinese and the fact that DR has seized on the opportunity with an Amazon hub? One of our opportunities as Jamaica right now is supporting the DR. DR is growing very quickly and almost running out of capacity to support some of the growth that they're seeing within their special economic zones, And so Jamaica is well positioned and has been positioning as that transshipment point to support that. We have also made forays into the Latin American market, one of those markets that, we have flirted with for a time, but strong interest coming from that side as well, particularly in areas with strong ports, Cartagena and other port communities as well. So Major Reese, thank you for those questions, sir. And it may be prudent if we had, from the minds gathered here, something, because I will take this, but if there are other members who want to make suggestions on what can work, how it can work, what has worked for your business, what we can consider, that would be quite helpful for us, because we have to hear from the clients to understand what is working, what is not, what we do away with, and what we keep. Next year will be 10 years since the passage of the SEZ Act in 2016, and we are underway with a fulsome review of the legislation to, again, see what is efficient and what isn't, how do we improve upon it in order to capitalize on the existing and future opportunities. President
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for that. Yes, President Thelma. Is that Thelma? I can't say the full name.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Go
Thelma.
ahead.
Hi, good evening, good night, everyone. Hi, Kelly, how are you?
I'm good.
I have a question for you. I know, under the Shakaramas Treaty, the SEC was working closely with JAMPRO and the ministry to move it along where rules of origin for goods are concerned. Can you touch a little bit for the group as to whether we have made any progress in that? Because items that is produced in Jamaica, and especially under the SEZ, is not recognized once it go out of Jamaica as an original made in Jamaica. Is there any progress where that is concerned?
Thank you for that question. So absolutely right. As it is currently established, special economic zone companies do not benefit from being made in Jamaica, from getting that certificate of origin under the SEZ. The reason for that is that special economic zone companies and the goods therefrom are treated as extraterritorial, being outside of Jamaica. And so what it does is, if your company is established and with a focus on the Caribbean region, then SEZ, I would not recommend that you look to SEZ for that. What I would suggest is that you look to the productive input relief for your goods, as you would benefit from being a CARICOM country and so treated, right? The productive input relief. So the regime is not attractive in that way. The question you asked, though, Thelma, was what has been done in relation to that? Because yes, you are right. It is something that SEZ companies have indicated is a major challenge. And so it is something that we are looking at. We are in the stage now of stakeholder consultation. We would have done our data gathering, done our analysis, and we are now at the stage of engaging with having met with the stakeholders before. We are now at the stage of engaging with stakeholders to get a consensus on our own position in relation to that, and our meaning across the government. So I hope that answers that question. You're welcome.
Thank you. There's another question in the chat which asks, what kind of growth can we look forward to in the medium term? I'm not sure which metric you use to measure growth, but you can elaborate on that.
Sure. Thank you for that question, Sir McDonald. Thank you for that. So as it relates to growth from the SEZ, so let's give some focus on some context here. Currently, with our 104 companies, the majority of those companies sit within our business process outsourcing industry. And that has grown steadily for us. Right now, when we look at the major opportunity for Jamaica, as I shared, it is in transshipment, warehousing, building out our Cayman special economic zone. What our companies have been reported, and our SEZ companies are required on a quarterly basis to submit reports, and we use the data from those reports to help to inform our policy positions and our advocacy agenda. Now, what that is telling us is that our companies, on average, are experiencing savings up to 25%, one company indicated to us. Now, it depends on what you're doing, where you are in your business cycle, and how you manage, of course, your cash flow, how you're managing the different markets, how you're pivoting, and where you purchase, right? Now, we can do a little in terms of our own projections. We currently have in our pipeline strong leads, right? And these are qualified leads, companies that we anticipate will be investing in Jamaica over the next 3 to 5 years strongly. We have approximately 50 companies that we have identified as such. Now, that gives you an example in terms of the investment that these companies are making in different sectors. We are seeing different investments coming in, right? So we're seeing in a range from, if we go from our services sector to our manufacturing sector, we're looking at values of about 4 million US up to 100 million, right? Is what we are seeing. And this is reported by our clients. So we anticipate, long and short, if we see the Cayman special economic zone being built out, that will really see our economic growth trending in a positive direction, because for each SEZ job created, the data indicates that it creates 3 to 4 other jobs in the economy. And when we think about the fact that our SEZ companies we are promoting a linkages program very similar. It has been done in tourism, and we want to leverage that and make that even better for our MSMEs to become feeders into our SEZ pipeline. So when we talk about our occupants in SEZ and we look at the requirements for our occupants, we're also identifying financial sources to support what the occupants will need to do, which is drive the economy of this country. So one of the things that we have heard is that the SEZ is not made for local companies, but it is made for local companies. And a lot of the times for existing companies can't come into the SEZ. But new companies, if you have a new concept if you're going into a new line of business, that can benefit from special economic zone designation. So I think I've said a mouthful on that matter.
So how would you address the fact? Suppose somebody has is operating a company, but because you can't use an existing company, they just create a new company and continue doing the same thing, and then apply for admission into the SEZ.
Thank you for
Couldn't that work?
Mm-hmm. So here are some of the things that we're hedging against, that we're protecting against. Base erosion and profit shifting is one of the reasons why existing companies are not allowed to enter into the SEZ. Now, that timeline is for a period of 10 years from the passage of the Act in 2016. That means that this comes to an end July 2026. So we're currently in the process now, DP Stewart, of identifying what the framework will look like based on feedback from our stakeholders, based on how the regime has operated with input from tax, statin, customs, Ministry of Finance, and of course the stakeholders themselves, in assessing what this new or what this end of the zone establishment period framework will look like for us. So it could see companies, if you're going into a new area of business, Forming a new company, yes, that is allowable under SEZ. Just hedge against. What you need to do is put in your Chinese walls, because what we're looking for, what we don't want to see happening, is where there is base erosion and profit shifting, where the domestic company is benefiting from the SEZ regime when it shouldn't.
Okay, there's another question in here, which is about the cost of electricity. It says, given the current high energy cost in Jamaica, what impact, if any, would it have on potential investors? And what suggestion would you give to a potential investor in regard to that?
Thank you for that one. So in terms of energy, one of the things that is allowable under SEZ, or that is being pushed for, to be allowed in SEZ, is that let me say that again. One of the things that SEZ developers, so if you have built out the space, you're allowed to put in your alternate energy sources. So you would put that in so that your occupants who are establishing in your zone can benefit from these different sources that you would put in to lower your costs. If you are in solar energy, for example, and you're assembling the parts here in Jamaica, that company can benefit from special economic zone designation as well. If you're doing any alternate energy company can benefit from SEZ, any kind of assembly that you're doing, manufacturing that you're doing in that space, that can benefit from SEZ as well.
Okay, somebody has also added, kind of overlaps a little bit, but it's a little different. In terms of inputs, would fuel could you benefit? All right, I guess he means if fuel was imported, if you would get the duty-free benefits from that.
Once it leaves the zone, you have to pay the duties. So
no, but using it, I think that means using it in the zone. But it's imported fuel being used in the zone. Say you set up some generating capacity that needs fuel.
In the zone. Okay.
Yes.
So see, it's a little bit tricky, right? So tricky in the sense that how does it leave the zone? You said it?
No, I mean, I guess what is leaving the zone would be the product. But you need electricity.
DPC.
Yeah.
He further clarified. He said for export from the zone.
Okay. So for export from the zone, it would be, the duty will be, so it goes into the zone, no duties, comes out, export. Once it's not going in the domestic market, then duties are not applicable.
So, President Zuri, are you suggesting that the person is asking the fuel is going to go out by itself? Is that what? I don't understand that.
No, what I mean is that the operation that takes place in the zone, let's say it's assembly or manufacturing operation.
That is going to be exported.
Items are exported. They would have a benefit over a company that's operating in Jamaica, paying the local electricity and fuel rates and exporting. So they would have an advantage if you're in the zone and the electricity supply or it was generated in the zone to support export.
You following that, Ms. Hamilton?
Once they export it, duties become payable in the market that they're exporting to. And so SEZ would be beneficial, yes, in that regard. Or advantageous in that regard, yeah.
And another question in the chat. Given the projected increases in the cost of security and other ancillary services promised, let me see, to scroll down a bit. Another okay. Well, hold on now. Given the projected, yes, and in relation to promised announced minimum wage increases of 100% over 5 years. Will this, the person is saying this will negatively impact all sectors, including SEZs. For example, well, let me not go into the example. You would care to comment on that? Is that
No,
something
I
that?
think it was just a comment. I don't think it was a
Mhm.
question.
Yes, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
All right. I don't see any more hands up. Is there anybody else who has a question that they would like to get in, because we're heading to a closure shortly? States. And
just to know where your administrative office, where do we find?
Oh, sure. We are at
Where do you
30
locate your
Dominica
office?
Drive. Yes, 30 Dominica Drive, New Kingston Business Center. But you can always get us email info@jseza.com, and our number is 876-619-7392. My email address is kdhamilton@jseza.com. So it's info. Sorry, info@jseza.com, and mine is KD Hamilton. If you miss the D, you're not going to get me. KD Hamilton at jseza.com. Yes, thank you. Thank you, President Johnson.
It's 30 Dominica Drive. Is that the towers?
No, New Kingston Business Center.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You mean what was the shopping center? What was the shopping center?
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Where Cousins used to be.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, let me just tie this last one. The 11 prohibited industries. They were identified as such because they either had their own incentives or they had what?
Their own
In terms
incentives.
of their being excluded.
Or they were otherwise regulated. Wholesales are on that list too. Wholesales are on the list, and that's just because of the nature of wholesale. You import, you sell locally, right? Not all, but that's the nature of it. And so we didn't want to give that type of activity an advantage over somebody that's manufacturing here in Jamaica, using Jamaican inputs and selling that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very informative. And at this point, I'll put us back to President Zuri for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, DP Stewart, and thank you so much, Mrs. Hamilton. But I'm going to invite DP Dalma to to say officially thank you on behalf of the club. DP Dalma.
Ms. Hamilton, on behalf of President Zuri, all the members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, and our honorable guests, I consider it a sincere pleasure to thank you for the presentation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Your presentation on the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority was not just informative, but it was in keeping with one of the objects of Kiwanis, to educate the public on matters of public interest. And you have certainly given us all valuable food for thought. And more importantly, new energy to take advantage of the great opportunity that have been made available through the Jamaica Special Economic Zone. We especially appreciate you explaining the logistic hub, the spin-offs that are available, shipbuilding, repairs, the tax breaks which are available, eligibility for participating. And surely we are happy that you have given us an opportunity to provide you with some feedback that would help, we hope, to make this even more successful. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule for addressing us, and we really wish you to understand just how much we appreciate what you have done. We have this certificate for you, You're at 30 Dominica Drive, so we'll find you. And we hope that you can find some little space on your wall to hang this certificate, which clearly shows how much we appreciate what you have done for us this evening. And once again, I'm asking everyone here to just join me in giving a little appreciation for Miss Hamilton in what she has presented to us this evening. Thank you, Miss Hamilton.
Thank you very much, Mr. James, and thank you very much to all the club members. Thank you for having me. I anticipate that if you didn't know anything before, you know a little bit more now. And so you too can become ambassadors for the special economic zone. As it was said, you know, time is of the essence, and we do need expertise in all the different areas to help us to get this done. So the feedback is important. I look forward to receiving that from you. I won't go back into my presentation. Mr. James already said thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Mrs. Hamilton. And I'll ask just one last thing of you, that you continue the relationship with the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, and that you stay connected to us, and we're looking forward to staying connected to you.
Absolutely, and big up the Saturday nights. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. All right, so next is Sergeant of Arms. Sergeant at Arms, and I probably should find myself for that. So, oh wait, I can't get fined for a whole year, right? Good, that's very good. So, or Sergeant
No,
at Arms.
you can find yourself.
So I might find you on my behalf. Or Sergeant at Arms for this evening should have been Assistant Secretary Treasurer Christopher Anderson, but I am not seeing him online. And I got a text message from him earlier saying that he was having connectivity issues. So I think I will start there this evening with a charge Assistant Secretary Treasurer Chris Anderson for his connectivity issues, leaving me without a Sarge and the opportunity to collect some needed funds. So I'm going to charge him $300. Kiwanian Clovis Metcalf, in your introduction, you left out the most important detail. There was no mention of our guest speaker being a star tonight. How could you? I cannot forgive that. So that's $300. DP Newton for serving himself before he served others at our last outreach on Saturday. $300.
Elaborate.
Kiwanian Oswald for not stopping him from serving himself before he served others. I'm sorry, Sir Ozzy, but I'm going to have to charge you as well. $300. And dear G. Willie, boy, this one is hard, but I'm going to have to do it. For failing to take a picture of the infraction of DP Newton, $300. And my last charge this evening is to DP Richard for his sheer brilliance dominating the discussions this evening. You get a Bright Sparks tax of $300. We do look forward to our members fulfilling their charges, or hoping that you pay your charges and don't have the Sarge have to send you a summons, right? So members, remember your duty to the Sarge, right? Notices and announcements and interclubbing opportunities, and this will be done by our Secretary DLG Willie.
May I just squeeze in something before Willie comes in?
Okay.
Just to let our audience know, some would already know this, that our meetings we're actually live on YouTube, but that's not the point. The point is that you can go to our YouTube channel, KCOK YouTube channel, and if you missed anything or you wanted to hear it again, you can always, this meeting will be up on the channel. It will be up immediately, but I do a few things to it before, and it's officially up. So, but you can always go there and look at it. And we'd like to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. So that's all I wanted to get in. Back to you, Press.
All right. Thank you, DP Stewart. So remember, when you go, click on the notification bell.
Yeah.
Billy. Notices and announcements.
Good. Thank you, President Zuri. Members, most important announcement. The Christmas Ball Planning Committee will be meeting on Thursday at the offices of VLGE Standonwell on Lady Musgrave Road at 6 p.m. It's important that all the members of the planning committee join us on that date. The letter of permission has been obtained from the Governor General and the tickets are gone to. Our requests have been made to print the tickets and we're hoping they'll be available for Thursday evening to start dispersing. We're behind a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we hope to catch up. And in regards of the installations, we have one which we'll be invited to is a joint installation between the downtown Kingston Division 23 East and our own Young Professionals Barbican at the Alhambra Inn next Monday, October 27th. That starts at 7 p.m. And so far as in the clubbing opportunities as they arise, I will circulate the details and invite members to come out and attend. This evening, we had a special invitation from Kiwanis Club of Worthington, inviting us to their installation. However, that had to be postponed due to the inclement weather, and that is being planned for next week, Tuesday. So forgive me, or forgive me and DLG Desmond if we're missing next week, Tuesday. There's no other announcement from me at this time, President Zuri. You may want to open it up to the floor and ask any visiting club if they have any announcements or notices to me. Thank you.
You're welcome, DLG Willie, and I will do just that. Are there any clubs online who would like to share an upcoming activity event that you'd like to inform us about? Any notices? I'll give you the opportunity to share with us now. All right, going once.
Oh, yes. Sorry. President Zuri. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. This is Samoy Cole from the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. We will be having our movie night next week, Wednesday, which is the 29th of October. And we're inviting your club and the others who have joined today to attend. It's only 500 at the gate, and that covers your 50-50, which also gives you a chance to broke out a broadness. I just wanted to slip that in. I also want to add that DLG William Reason, I can't show my face now, but I used to attend the St. Hugh's High School for Girls, and he was one of our invigilators at the time. So it's great to see a face from the past.
Thank you very, very, very much.
I'm not sure if I just missed it, but did you say where the movie night was being held?
No, sorry, I just assumed you knew where we were. All right, so the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston meetings are held at the Police Officers Club, which is 32 Hope Road. And the movie will begin at 6 p.m. And the movie is a surprise.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other clubs with any notices? Going twice.
May I just add, President Zuri, we may just put it on the calendar from now. I believe the first Quarter Divisional Council meeting is scheduled for Sunday,
November 16th.
16th, yes.
Thank you, DLG. And you will get more details about that as we get closer to November 16th. Going 3 times. All right, gone. Next on our agenda is our thought for the week, and this is to be done by DP Marcel. Not seeing DP Marcel on, so I will share with you a thought. The only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. Again, the only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude.
Very good.
With that said, I invite us all.
Just a minute, President Suri.
Go ahead, DP Chris.
Do we have a contingency plan for Thursday? I understand you want to have this meeting, but I hear from other sources that we may be having showers and showers and showers on Thursday evening. Is there a contingency plan?
If the showers and showers continue, we'll have to take it online. We will have to do a virtual meeting.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you, DP. Right. Kiwanians, guests all, I invite you at this time to raise your figurative glasses with me in a toast to Kiwanis International and the Jamaica land we love. This meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is now terminated. Have a good evening, everyone, and we invite you to join us at our next meeting. Blessings.
President.
Yes, DLG.
I may have joined late, but I didn't hear the Thursday meeting.
Yeah, what was it?
Can you tell me about that?
The Thursday meeting of the planning committee.
Oh,
DLG Willie said it.
Fundraising.
Oh, fundraising.
Okay. Yes, the fundraising committee for the planning of